Hello everyone, welcome to more FACEIT action. This is a very important game. We are playing the tiebreaker for 8th spot. If you haven't seen already, you can see basically most of the bracket is actually decided for EMEA already. You can see we're filled with all 7 teams here, even the newly dubbed Virtus Pro, formerly Ataraxia. But there is one spot missing. Somebody's missing out on the chance to play SSG. And the 2 teams battling out to play SSG are Celtas and Sovereigns. So, as you can see, there was a pretty big tiebreaker here. RA Esports lost for head-to-head, so they were eliminated first. But then New Age beat both Celtas and Sovereigns in terms of FACEIT ELO, so they get bumped up, which leaves just 2 teams remaining to play out for this dogfight. So we can talk about 2 of the teams quickly, as this match is about to start. So Sovereigns have had a pretty rocky road to the tiebreaker here. They started pretty well, and then they had some roster issues. Dan dropped out of a roster, and Danid was having to fill on tank. And, well, Danid's very good at Doom. He kind of is only able to play Doom in the tank role, so it led to a lot of problems for him. Since then, Melon has come into the roster and really stabilized and set Sovereigns up to actually even get in this tiebreaker situation. Meanwhile, on the other side, Celtas are a team who have had a more typical run through the tournament, where they seem to have just improved over time. It feels like their teamwork's got better. Feels like they've improved over comps. I think particularly Ange and Podanova in the backline have started to look very good. The big problem for Celtas at the moment is the meta. The meta really seems to have knocked them back a couple of pegs. Skytor doesn't look as comfortable on the Malga as other heroes. Similarly, Kai41, not Ents Kai, different Kai. Kai41, Kazakhstanian Kai, really just plays mostly Tracer, which has been a very good hero for a very long time. But in this Malga meta, we see more and more Genji, Pharah, Venture, all these different types of heroes. So it'll be really interesting to see whether or not Kai41 sticks in that Tracer no matter what, or whether they actually lean the other direction and we see Kai41 show a little bit more flexibility. So we'll have to wait and see what we get out of both teams. Generally, Celtas have had a bit more of a success playing the dive version of a comp, so we can imagine in the map bans, they're pretty keen to move it to that as well. One important thing to note that is different between this and the previous iterations we've seen on FACEIT is this is best of 5, not best of 3. We're going to do a whole series. As we get confirmation here of the rosters, and I think, we'll wait and see the map. So Samoa's going to be banned immediately by Celtas. Sovereign's choice for a ban now. They're going to ban Busan. This is how the bans often go. Samoa and Busan are the least popular. We won't see the final map pool until the end. We'll just see the ban. So now Sovereign gets to pick this map. They'll ban first. I imagine Sovereigns will be keen to take Parisio away, because again, we talked about Celta's potential advantage in that dive mirror. And that would be my guess, at least, from Sovereigns. They're debating this one a fair amount. It's Midtown they actually go for, so maybe a little bit of a surprise in that one, honestly. I can ward for a response back. So Parisio is open here, but I imagine Sovereigns are going to steer clear of it, so maybe we just go to Hollywood. We'll have to wait until afterwards to get the full confirmation. I don't know if Sovereigns expected this, though. I still imagine if they don't want to go to Parisio. Then push. Normally teams just ban New Queen Street because everyone hates it. Sovereigns will get 1 ban, then Celtas get to pick. New Queen Street banned by Sovereigns, no surprises there. Everybody and their grandma hates New Queen Street. So no New Queen Street, a 50-50 decision for Celtas about what they prefer. Obviously, if they do want to lean to dive, Esperanza is very much the suitable one. We'll see if they opt for that. That'll maybe give us a bit of an indicator in terms of what they have planned. Then 50-50, Sovereigns just get to pick this one. Maybe New Junk City's harder to dive on, but I imagine this flashpoint will be Amalgam Mirror, kind of no matter what happens. It's fair to say as well, all of the teams in question who have been focusing mostly on FACEIT haven't been scrimming Flashpoint and haven't been scrimming Push because it's not in the map pool for most of the FACEIT games, so they might be a little bit out of sorts. We'll get Celtas banning Rialto here. Sovereigns with a ban back. I imagine they'll take Route 66 out and leave the decision in Celta's hand. Sovereigns taking their time. It's going to be a Junkertown ban, actually. So Celtas could take us to Route 66 Decider. We'll get confirmation of all those maps now. We'll get an invite to the lobby. And it will be Nepal, Parisio, Esperanza, New Junk City, Route 66. And what an outrageous string of dive maps available for Sovereigns here. One thing that's worth saying as well, which is maybe a little bit surprised because he was off the roster and not playing for quite a while. But Dan is back. The return of Dan. There was some talk beforehand that maybe Melon was going to have some availability issues. There was a bit of a struggle to get both teams to agree to an initial date for this tiebreaker. So it seems like Dan has been called back in at the last minute to try and make this work. So Dan, presumably not scrimmed with the team for quite a while quite an accomplished tank. We'll see how they handle it. We'll be firing Shax in as we go over to this first map. So Nepal, very much geared up, mostly for a brawl mirror, I think. So could see a lot of Malga. We've seen Celtas struggle on this comp before. So this first game will be very important in deciding where that current power level is. Remember, the longer we go in the series, the more and more dive maps we have. Parisio, Esperanza, Route 66, all coming up. I feel like this map draft probably does favour Celtas. Though with Dan back in the roster, maybe that shifts the power level of this team slightly back towards dive more. So we'll see how much they lean into it. But for now, we're going to be getting some of that Malga mirror that we talked about. And it seems initially like Kai41, who is currently tagged up as Echo X Locator, is on the Farah. Something, personally, not seen him on before. So we'll see how well he does. On the other side of it, Shaq's very much a Tracer player as well, but we'll be going Genji here too. Generally seen as better in the mirror. Both teams taking their side of point. An early high ground here for Dan. Will stabilize over that Mega. They do get boot back, but they've gotten this early position. Now, without either team having the Tracer, forcing points a little bit trickier, but the Genji's better at it than the Farah. Just a slow, pokey fight for now. Zydra on his preferred Sojourn as well. Now Dan's going to stomp forward. They force him back. Just to disengage from Celtas. And Shax is going to catch a rail as he goes to point. Needs a bit of pocket here. The rest of Celtas want to come back out the choke. Forcing their way through. Shax is awfully low on point. Needs a lot of help. Is getting the pocket now. Now a stomp from Dan to clear the flank. But they've left their Cass alone. Fine, needs all the help in the world. He's getting focused out. He needs so much help. They do take him down. They've won the battle on both sides. A boot kill even onto Dan. And Celtas are good for the retake. They only give up 11% as well. No complaints there. And it seems like Dan really wanted to take control of that right-hand side flank, but Fi with a different idea. Now an early barrage. Tries to catch for Tracer there. No doing though. Shaq's quick on that one, and Kai41 finds nothing. Waste of a barrage. Kitsune Rush now back for Buddy. Podanova doesn't quite have it yet. So a chance to be aggressive. Celtas have to be ready to disengage again. They're dealing with the Tracer on point, and Shaq's cops a rocket. That will slow him down. But Boop is marked, and Dan's going to go force point with Shax here. Shax has no recall. They can all swing point for free. Dan's taken so much. They're using High Noon. Shax is going to peek one more time. Has to be careful because Zydra has rail, but does force it. The Tracer advantage being exploited, and now the Kitsune Rushes will be traded. But Skytor's run back. Needs to come rejoin his team. Dan wants to push the advantage here on the Kitsune Rush, but he's taken so much damage. Late beat from Dollar does not save Dan. Repush is looking good now for Celtas. They have the player advantage. Zydra will finish off Shax too. They'll get the cap back. And they'll stay in control for now. Again, expect the retakes to look quite similar here where they want to play through points. Similarly, because of that poor ult usage, they're behind. Dan's cage is slow as well. They're going to force out Kai41 back on the Farah. They just need to keep hold of point here, Celtas. They have the ults to win any direct fight. Look at this. 4 ults on the board. Rocket onto Shax. Somebody needs to get the touch earlier. Dollar's touching as well. Someone needs to contest. Skytor's going to be the one to make the move. But does this present an opportunity for Dan on the high ground? He's looking for it. He's winding up. He's going for it. Skytor goes to match him, though. So they've got the high ground, and Shax will go back to forcing points. Someone needs to dip and touch. Shax is forced to recall, but Dollar's forcing it again. Skytor has to drop Cardiac Overdrive. And now Zydra with the overclock. But Sovereigns could just... Oh, they can just wait this one out, but Fi gets caught. And he catches Shax as well. Overclock is good. Barrage over the top. Maybe not needed in the end from Kai41, but they will give a full cleanup. And the touch is going to be a little bit awkward. Dan's able to force one late trade, but they're in control of point, and Skytalk could just look for the cage Shax here. If he catches them, they can't go through. As long as he catches his Tracer, Shax is through, though. We'll go back to the point. Shax gets the touch, dies for it, though. Cage to block it. Has to go into the cage to get the touch here. Nowhere to go from Dollar. And the cage is too strong. Celtas take the opening round. And a very slow and tactical and strategic vying for position and point. It felt like they had a big problem with Shax forcing point. But that'll be a little bit less of an issue here. You can still do the same on Village, but it's a little bit easier for your Lucio and Pharah to mark on this map compared to Sanctum. On Sanctum, you really have to drop your Pharah or Lucio into quite an open area to mark point. Whereas here, you can pocket it from top a lot more easily. We'll be starting Pharah, it seems, again for Kai41. We'll see what Shax chooses to do. In theory, the Genji can match up quite nicely because the deflect's so powerful. The Malga trade, very good against Barrage, all of this. A little bit harder to hit for the Pharah too. Now, it looks like Shax will just go Tracer, actually, which means Kai41 can just rain down his damage from the high ground. Just has to deal with the Cass. Is separate from the heals here right now, so has to play it relatively slow. Just slow and pokey as all of Sovereigns get onto the high ground. They're going to lose Dan early, and yeah, Kai41 is just playing this sniper angle. The repush onto high ground is good. Celta's in control of this one. And they will get the first flip for free. No real ults on the board yet, thanks to how quick that first fight was. And we'll see Podanova trying to farm up some of this early damage. Keen to get that Kitsune Rush, has about a 15% advantage right now. And it looks like they want to go from main here, so we might see Shax touch point. Maybe Dan can come and join him as well. Dan will run towards point. They're going to play through point here. Nothing on the cross, but just force Suzu. Actually, they do catch Fi. Zydra's pushing in further behind here, so they've got all the angles in the world on Dan. Shax has got one in the back, though, and now Shax can start causing Zydra loads of problems as well. Pocket will come through from Podanova, and Zydra will be okay. They repel Shax. They force Skytor back, and they have won the HP trade here, but player advantage should allow them to save lives. Pulse Bomb is Suzu there by Podanova, but Dan is swinging from the other side. Skytor has to try and run away. Kitsune Rush comes through, but not in time to save Skytor. They're going to keep swinging on point here. Rocket is good onto 5. They force the TP out of Buddy. They can maybe keep pushing here, and again, another one from Kai. He's over the top as the beat comes through. Beats will be traded. Barrage is close. He's all over Dollar. Kai41 will not miss. Now we can turn his attention to the Tracer and the Malga. They should just be able to focus down Dan from this point. And it works out nicely. They have both DPS ults for the cross again now, Celtas. And they can make this really hard. They did lose the flip, of course. And they'll start laying down that early damage. Barrage and Overclock available here. Expect them to go on the cross here, Celtas, if Sovereigns go for the point. Shax is going to get the first touch. Kai41 should be able to mark that, but they're all coming. They need to be careful. Skytor slams in. Cage is dropped. Skytor doesn't have it yet. Barrage to help break the cage. Does help now Skytor with the later cage. Dan is trapped in. Will they go in to save him? No, they just sacrifice him. It will be a reset for the cage, and they do come back with ult advantage now. Buddy will have Kyrie ult, but Celtas are not keen to stop. They want to go into spawn. They want to get all the stagger kills. They want to get Buddy. They do get Buddy. The touch is going to be difficult. Shax under more pressure too. Forced to recall. Celtas will take what they can get. But now Kitsune Rush and Overclock coming back for Sovereigns. This should be their window. The cross to point has been made hard before, and I expect Kai41 to be doing more of the same again. Shax is going coast to touch. Should be able to get the touch for his team. But now Kai41 drops. Will put pressure onto Shax. Shax needs help soon. Recall is forced, so Dan makes his move to point. They turn onto Skytor, but Dollar gets caught on the cross. They all die on the cross for Kitsune Rush. It allows them to get to point. It allows them to get a flip, but it's a 5v3. They don't have their Overclock anymore as well. They can just force the fight on point. They're behind Dan. They're attacking him from all sides. And Celtas, competent and confident, take Nepal 2-0. And take the early lead in this series. We'll see the play of the game. Kai 41, probably the cleanup of this. Let's see it. Come in for flank here. Oh, yeah, this is the boop in the earlier fight. Just catches Dan. And then doesn't miss these ones. Helps him that retake. Helps him with that retake. And we'll wait for our lobby invite to the next game. Obviously, remember now it's going to be slightly different, right? We're going to be going over to Parisio, which obviously favors dive a lot more. Normally, I would think Celtas are stronger on the dive, but Dan coming back in gives them, I think, a much stronger Winston player on the side of Sovereigns, so that might shift the balance. There's obviously maybe an argument. Is Mauga just better in a lot of these situations? Surely not on Parisio as well, right? Surely Parisio is still a dive map. We'll get lineup finalizations from both teams. Just waiting for it to come back. And I think so far, the nature of Shaxx wanting to lean more into the Tracer is causing them some problems. You can play Tracer in the Mauga mirror, but compared to Genji and Echo and Venturer and Pharaoh and all these other heroes who are quite happy just to take a big, brawly frontline trade, what you need to do with Tracer is if your Maugas are meeting in the middle here, you want your Tracer to come in on the flank and obviously try and pull resources away from the Mauga. So instead of just doing a 5-man frontline trade, trying to get better deflect value, better cardiac overdrive value, a lot of your resources are potentially pulled away by the Tracer. But that can be quite different. That can be quite difficult to actually do consistently and get the right timing, the right value, everything like this. So we'll move on to Parisio. Tie 41, keeping streamer mode on. It will still be Dan, Fi, Shaxx in. We'll see what both teams choose to do, whether it's going to be dive, whether it's going to be Anna Brig, Kiri Lucio, lots of options, whether they still just think, forget it, we can just play Mauga here, it's no problem. No changes on the side of Celtas either, which isn't really surprising at all. We never really see many changes out of them. It's been these core 5 for quite a while. And it will be Kiri, Lucio, dive from the side of Celtas initially. But it will be Anna, Brig coming out. Winston, Echo, Tracer for the side of Sovereigns. Now, Anna Brig, very good on Parisio. Lots of nice high grounds for your backline to play. Lots of nice spots for your Anna Brig to be sturdy and safe. Interesting to see Fi swap onto the Echo rather than leaning into the Cass, which we've seen him play more of lately. Fi, quite a flexible player as far as DPS go. We've seen him be successful on the May and stuff before as well. The main key here is, if you're going to play the Kiri Lucio, as we expect from Celtas, the Kitsune Rush and the beat timings, those are your big win timings. You should be able to run over the backline during those timings, even though in theory the Anna Brig can outvalue in the neutral. So we'll see how that goes. Holding the initial corner, they'll scout out the comp. Happy just to trade a bit of damage. Shaxx will come in and help as well. Kai 41 will get an angle on Dan, force him back. Thank you very much for the prime, Jin Argent. And they take this first corner, no problem. We'll force him back here. Sovereign's having to restabilize and will play from this coast area near the staircase here. And actually, Podanova just catches Shaxx. A big threat down, and now the jump in from Skytor all over backline. Dollar and Buddy go different ways. The split is brutal. Meanwhile, Ange is tucked away safely. They'll kill Buddy, surely. There we go. Ange will finish that one. They take over. They'll start forcing point. And an easy first point at the end. Just a Podanova pick. A Podanova pick into a backline split from Sovereigns. And it'll be a nice, easy first point. Now, generally speaking, it's hard to hold the first bit of this if you're defenders. We're going to see him swing out early. Nade is good onto Skytor, so Skytor has to get on that bubble super fast. And they will be pushed back for now. Dan's going to get a butt of them. And Buddy can keep swinging here. Just have a nade soon. We'll pocket Dan out of this one. Dan does have to bubble defensively. But there is a nade timing coming up. Skytor will bubble on that, so Dan will give the space. Option here to maybe go further back. We'll look for that nade. It's a good nade, but they weren't as ready to go. The dive's in main rather than onto the nade. Now Skytor comes up. Dollar needs to get out of bubble. Will come back, as will Dan. The payload's been moving this entire time for Celtas, so they're getting closer and closer. And now we nearly have that nano timing available for Buddy. Looking for it. Nade onto Podanova. Forces him out. He's super low. Has the nano if he needs it. Drops it onto Dollar instead. They're dealing with the Winston. Skytor has Primal. Everyone else is kept alive by the beat, but they just choose to die. They committed beats about. I'm not sure why Skytor didn't commit the Primal. Maybe trying to set up a more clear advantage since there was the nano and the rally going. Felt the backline was unkillable. Let him just use both ults. And then overpower him on the next one with a Primal and Kitsune Rush. Could be an option. Dan's going to have to do a lot of work here just to try and minimize the impact of this Kitsune Rush. Stop it connecting as much with his backline if he can. Coming through main for now, Celtas. Skytor with that Primal. Vi's got really deep behind. Does have copy if he gets in trouble. Skytor's going to jump initially onto Dan. Just try and bubble and clear him to keep this payload moving. They get an angle, but they lose Kai 41. Celtas will be forced back here. Podanova will split. TP's out. Not completely out, so they can chase that kill. Copy to keep going now, actually, from Vi. Don't know if he was forced to use this one, but he's not going to get too much out of a copy. Really keen to hunt down Ange. Ange is going to give him a runabout. Vi needs to be careful. He can actually get out here. He's a little bit too deep. Will try and fly out. Will get beamed down. Goes too far. Zydra with a finish. A wasted ult into an overextend from Fi, and this has opened the door wide from Celtas. You can see Sovereigns quick to position their backline on the further back buildings. And now they're coming. Boop is good by Dollar. Keeps them safe. And now the Kitsune Rush to keep going. All of them are trying to pile forward onto this backline. They can keep going. They're all over him. Dollar's got nowhere to go. Primal will be popped. Sleep is good, though. He's going to wake up quickly. Dollar's still getting hunted. Dollar will go down. Now onto the Ana. No sleep available for Buddy. Will be a finish by Skytor. Now they need to come back to point. Skytor is low behind, though, so this is a tricky situation. And Shax is getting value on point here. If he can get pocketed back up, they can touch. And yes, Skytor can't get out. They go so deep. They kill the backline, but the trades are good. The trades are good. And despite that, they survive the onslaught of Kitsune Rush. They survive the onslaught of the Primal. And Sovereigns get to set up on this nice high ground again. And a big chance goes begging. Pulse Bomb available for Shax. Nano available for Buddy. Rally very close for Dollar. Skytor's going to bubble onto the back line. Dan's just going to counter jump. Skytor forced to the low ground. Awfully low. Pulse Bomb doesn't kill 5. A roll just about does enough. And Shax will catch Skytor on the way out. Dan playing patient. Just counter jumping Skytor on that occasion. And Shax is there to finish the kill. Dan will chase them all out now. And Shax can look for a little bit more. Nano and Rally available, so the ult advantage is looking pretty comfortable for Sovereigns. Overclock available from Zydra. Difficult to use it aggressively here, coming from the low ground. Magnetic Grenade onto Kai 41, forces out. It's a Rally push, actually, from Sovereigns. The Celtas are wise to it. They get out. Another bubble onto Skytor. They want to keep going. Fi will swing with High Noon. He's going so aggressive. Skytor is in the corner. Executed here. They will push successfully all the way to spawn. They'll get their man. They had to use 2 ults for it, though. So you have to wonder how worth this really is for Sovereign's big picture, because now that double support ult timing is coming up again for Celtas. If Podanova can find the connection with this one, or Zydra with the overclock, they've only got the nano. They have got nano primal. The biggest thing for Dan is probably trying to find a trade in this. If Podanova and Ange can both live, it's massive for them. Initial swing out now, trying to clean. They will clear Dan out. They will Suzu. Zydra is low. Now they TP forward. It's an aggressive Kitsune Rush. They want to chase Dollar. Defensive nano used onto him here. And they'll just give the space. They TP back. They get Zydra. Zydra with a chance to pop this overclock now. Skytor's low. Doesn't get to his primal. They're still trying to burn Dan, but as long as he lives, they'll be okay. They're still trying to burn through this Winston. Dan's gone too far, though. He's done enough. It's 4v4. Skytor coming back with primal soon. Zydra forced all the way back. But look at Skytor coming back. They'll have Winston advantage for a bit. Dan has got Malga for this last fight. It'll be a fight on point and a crucial pick by Fi. Skytor needs a bit of magic with this primal, but into a cardiac overdrive. And Shax has hit the pulse. It's so hard now. It's so hard. Need a miracle with this primal, but Dollar is so close to Rally. If he gets to Rally, he should be fine, but primal doesn't go off. A disaster for Celtas. Can anyone even touch? Kai's going to lob the pulse bomb on, but cannot touch. And it all falls apart for Celtas. They had the chances. It felt like there were clear openings in terms of the ult economy, really.
Switching sides. Initiating match.
And it doesn't work out. Initially, we thought it would be a dive advantage here for Celtas. But that didn't transpire to be the case. Missed for big ult timings. The one they were successful, one they killed for backline. Dollar and Buddy had kited so far, took so long to die, and Dan and Shax had found the trades. Meant they couldn't get the cart progress they maybe felt they should have done. And all of a sudden, very defendable. Very attackable, I should say, for Sovereigns. A great chance to equalize the series here. Looks like we'll get more of the same type of matchup. Fi going to start on the Casson this time, rather than the Echo. Will just be Tracer Sojourn again from Celtas. Mistakes creeping in to Celtas' play. Maybe more than we're used to seeing. Remember how dive heavy this map pool is, so this matchup and how it goes could be very crucial in defining how this series goes. And the pressure is on. It's do or die. It's single elimination. One game. Sudden death. Dan will jump onto the high ground here. Zydra will get naded, but he'll be fine. Dan again trying to trade a little with Skytor. Force him back. And now the backline can swing. Dollar and Fire looking for it, and Buddy just catches Kai 41 with a nade. Now the jump in from Dan, just wants to trade him a Winston, get space, and Fi's found another one. And it's all so easy for Sovereigns at the moment. Just able to walk forward. Skytor, I don't think we'll get out of this one. He will not. And loads of time now to attack this next point. No ults really on the board for anyone. Celtas seem a little bit vulnerable right now. Every pick is going their way. Or sorry, going against them. Nade's going to connect onto Ange. Dan will follow that up, but Susie will keep him alive. They're still pushing, but Zydra in his time with the rail. Now Skytor can swing with the rest of his team. Bubble behind him. Skytor needs help. They do get the trade. It's not quite over yet. Nade available soon. Jump back in from Dan. Celtas, I think, should be able to stabilize despite not having their Winston. They want to trade for Dan, actually. Kai 41 knows how low Dan is. Dan doesn't quite get the jump he wants, but will be okay. Both teams will take a step back, reset, and now we get that Buddy Nano coming up soon. Chance to find that timing. Could just go on to Fi here, in all honesty. Give a chance for him to play Raid Boss. Ange close in that beat, but not quite there yet. And Zydra's going to find the opening pick this time. Are they still going to go with this Nano? Nade, big nade in there. They're going to get forced back. It's going to be a rally from Dollar. He wants to keep swinging. Pulse bombs avoided. Looking for a second bash timing. Can't find anything. There we go. Onto the Tracer. He's so low. No one finishes the kill, though. Dollar will back up to his team now. Buddy still has Nano here. They can keep going if they want. Dan's going to pop a Primal. Nade doesn't catch anyone. They can Nano in after this as well. And the payload has been moving this entire time. Disruptor shot slows him down. We'll be able to peek down if he needs it. He should be okay. Now the bubble comes in. It's a Nano onto Fi. Happy to drop a high noon. Gets the kill onto Zydra. Now he can swing with it. The beat comes back. Fi just needs to live. Bubble back through, but the disengage is good from the Sovereign's backline. Magnetic Grenade helps now. They are separated. Buddy needs the peel. Defensive nade is not enough. Dollar's trying to live now as well. Caught in a dogfight on the low ground. And the trades, I think the trades are enough. They just about hold on. We're in last fight territory here. Just one more fight for Sovereigns. But Celtas survive the onslaught. For now. Still 3 minutes 40 seconds of Sovereign's attack to deal with. Zydra just have the overclock here as they move into a more aggressive forward hold, but Shax is going to start touching point. They have to respond. Kai's going to go for that, while the rest of them are going to go with Zydra's overclock. Kill onto Dollar is good. Skytor will be traded. Could do with one more here, Zydra. The rest of Celtas try and regroup. They're at Winston disadvantage. Pulse bombs, good actually. Catches Shax. Kai 41, good for that. They're still swinging aggressively. Dan's a little bit close here if Kai 41 can find him. We'll be okay for now, though. Next Nano rally timing coming up, and Celtas looking a little bit short in the old economy. Trades are enough for the defenders here if they can find them. As Dan jumps out, but Rally comes in behind. Skytor now needs to live, just tries to keep him. Boop is good from Ange to help Skytor out. They actually killed Dollar through it. Disaster for Sovereigns. The big ult advantage goes begging. They can push into spawn. Ange has to be careful not to trade. Really keen to get into Sana. Skytor's going to jump one more time. Dan's chasing him. They need to help Skytor. Skytor will play his life. And Dan should die for this. The jump doesn't get him out. Kai41 will blink back to team as well. Shax actually forces a recall. Kai41 is stuck in here. Needs to blink out again. Shax so keen for it, but dies for it. Shax smelt blood. He thought he could get betrayed. But it's no good. Nano and Primal coming back. Down to 2 minutes here. But No's previous fight wins have bought enough time for Celtas to recover the economy. They've got both support ults now as well. They have to try and rotate their backline up. Going to be coming from main this time rather than the building. Now they're going to rotate underneath actually. Want to try and get Angle onto this high ground, but they see it coming. Magnetic Grenade will catch Podernova. But we'll be able to de-peek it. Skytor bubble on the choke. Doesn't get all that much. Bubble advantage now for Dan to go back with. Pulse Bomb out. Catches Buddy. Good again from Kai41. Now they can Kitsune rush onto Dan, and they should just cut their losses here, Sovereigns. That early Pulse Bomb really sealed it. If anything, Sovereigns will be happy the Kitsune rush was used. They're getting all the cleanup kills here. Dollar will die too. Suddenly 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock. They had so much time, Sovereigns. But it's starting to look a little bit lower now. They have Nano, they have Primal, they have High Noon. Even a Pulse Bomb coming back now, Sovereigns. Can maybe use the Nano defensively to survive for Primal and the beat. Maybe just on Safai or Dollar. We've seen quite a few of them before. Dan has a Primal to take care of himself. They're going to walk up main this time. Again, eyes on when this Nano goes on. Oh, Fi's found! It's such an important kill. Podernova is down. They still have beat, but now they can walk forward. Sleep is no good. Has to Nano Dollar. Meanwhile, the Primal's going to keep going. Dollar will be okay. Beat comes back now. They want to push Dollar in. He's booped in. He's caught in. He's Primaled in. Dollar's getting forced all the way back. Kai41 will finish it. Dan trades it out, but Zydra's still good. Has the overclock to keep going. Can burn through this. Winston needs the pocket, but behind him catches him. It's not over yet. Ange is low. Skytor is low. Podenova's back, but they are low on healing. Skytor will bubble onto the point, but Dan's got the later bubble. Fire will burst that bubble quickly. Both teams are able to stabilize, though. Respawn slightly closer for Celtas. 20 seconds left on the clock, and Dollar has Rally. Zydra's back on Sombra. Kai41, the Pulse Bomb's good again! He catches Buddy. Rally comes out. Celtas just need to live this Rally. The Suzu is good. Dollar's forced back. Fire's low. Celtas can just regroup. They nearly have a Kitsune rush. They have the kills. Celtas hold on. It looks so improbable. It looks so improbable at the start of this, but Celtas have done it. With 1.5 meters to spare, Celtas hold on. Kai41 hit every single pulse. And Celtas find themselves 2 up in the series. Match point. Top 8 point. We'll get the play of the game from Ange here right at the end. Not all that much. And we are invited to the next lobby. So let's get right into that one. Esperanza. Will we see more dive? That dive mirror was pretty even, really. Obviously on Esperanza you might expect way more likely to see a Kiri Lucio dive mirror rather than anything else. In terms of roster wise, it doesn't seem like we have any changes. Kai41 not currently in lobby, but really don't expect to see him go anywhere. Not after that Paricio. And Sovereigns. It's do or die. Has to be a reverse sweep now from Sovereigns. That last map, Paricio, it'll be bitter. They were so close. Should have been there. One of those ult advantages they should have converted. But none of them work out. But they have to put that behind them now. Have to put that behind them now. Because everything has to go right from here for Sovereigns to come back in this series. Esperanza, we could see more of the same dive mirror. It's not impossible they go Mauga here either. Really not impossible. WoW in general, Esperanza is seen as the most dive-friendly push. We have seen plenty of teams play sort of ground tank, Lucio-based comps on here as well. It's really not impossible to win that side of a matchup. Especially versus the Kiri Lucio Winston, because the Kiri Lucio Winston is much more reliant on its ults to deal with a ground tank comp, compared to the Anna Brig version where you have a lot of neutral win conditions in terms of the nade, obviously. We'll wait and see what we get. We're still just waiting for Kai41 on lobby. Maybe he needs to cool off a little bit after his recent hot streak. But here we are, we're going in. Esperanza to decide it all. Thank you, Kevster, for the 4 months. Appreciate the resub. Here to check out which team he's going to be meeting potentially in the top 8 bracket. And remember, it is all for this top 8. Celta's a single map away. A single map away. Interesting to see what direction they go. I think if your Celtas, obviously, things are going your way, you don't need to change anything. If you're Sovereigns, though, you lost the Malga Mirror. You lost the Dive Mirror. The Nepal, they probably lost the Malga Mirror by a more substantial margin than they did the Dive Mirror. So maybe they do want to play more Dive. Maybe also a read. I mean, if you're Celtas, you keep playing the comps you play, right? At least for now, they're on Malga. Just a single swap away, obviously, from their Winston comp as well. But it looks like it might be a Malga Mirror, and this is where the bigger gap was. This is where maybe potential availability issues for Sovereigns, where they didn't have Melon available. Melon, who they've been scrimming with as of late, and they have to bring back in Dan, who's not played with them. Not played as much of this version of the Malga Mirror. This is where it could really hurt. But they're going to go Cass Echo. It is Tracer again from, well, we all know him as Kai41, but for now, he'll be Winton. Was a big gap on Nepal. Really seemed to struggle. But again, I don't think the Tracer is optimal in this mirror. Kai41 has to try and take attention from behind. They lose the damage trade in the front line here, Celtas. So Kai41 has to try and do a lot, take a lot of resources and attention from behind while not getting punished. Easier said than done. For now, though, it's a classic slow Esperanza first fight. Worth noting as well, these teams haven't been scrimming push or flashpoint that much. But Buddy gets the opening pick, and now the dive into the backline from Shax. Forces for TP out, Podanova. Sticky's over the top, forces for Suzu as well. No cooldowns for Podanova now. Skytor still trying to go forward. Dan has to reload. Now Skytor needs to reload. Again, Shax dives in, finishes off that kill. But Kai41 is cleaning up. He's forcing them all the way back, but free for Kai. 41 that is. And he's done it again. This is what we talked about. Can Kai41 take enough attention? Can he pull the resources away from that frontline battle? Is he good in a dogfight at the end? Of course Tracer is, and he does it here. Early pulse bomb for him as well. They'll get the cart moving. They'll get themselves to the high ground, and difficult retake here, but Dan actually looking to try and take this high ground early. Kai41 will be forced back. And it will just be a high ground trade to begin with. Dan wants to walk out here. It's a long walk up though. Zydra farming rail after rail to send down this. Pressure onto Dan. Suzu onto Skydor. Beat back onto the Kitsune Rush. They drop both support ults here. Dollar doesn't have the beat yet. The Tracer gap on point, and Skytor goes for another slam. Fire's caught in this one. Their solo. Dollar has the beat now. They want to turn it. High noon beat. Skytor is committed. He's in trouble. He manages to live for now. He's so low. He somehow got out. Celta stabilized. They keep the point moving. They survive that beat. Skytor has cage advantage. Zydra nearly has this overclock. They've got the ults to win it here. They can just cage and overclock for Cap. It wouldn't be an unreasonable one. Dan does have that cage soon as well. Full rail. Has to wait out an magnetic grenade. Looking for an opportunity here. Fishing for the Tracer actually with Kai41. Celtas do have map control. They do have the lead. They don't have to do anything, and now Dollar goes down. Now they can do something if they want. They can walk forward and take the trade, and Podanova's going to kill Shax on point. They don't even need the ults in the end. No trade available for Fi, and Celtas are moving this one forward. Ult advantage remains in the hand of Celtas. They're now going to have Kitsune Rush to go alongside in his cage trade, but they've got that overclock and that pulse and even a quicker beat to throw into it as well. Sovereign's in big trouble here. They need to be careful not to get on the wrong side of this snowball. Cage will be used onto Dan as he slams in. Counter cage comes through. Kitsune Rush is available very soon, but the pulse bomb from Kai41 doesn't find anything. Shax is good though. Shax finds Podanova and they win the trade. A lifeline for Sovereigns. They've had to concede cap. They've had to concede almost 70 meters. But now they find themselves on the front foot. And they avoid potentially that big ult snowball. Much easier to play an ult disadvantage fight when you already have high ground and map control. Looks like they want to come top here. Skytor's going to swing early. Kitsune Rush used. It will be matched out here from Podonova. Zydra's got the overclock in there as well. High Noon comes back. They beat to keep going. Pulse Bomb forces for cancel. Kai 41 is still behind, but he's been forced back. Now the beat push comes in, and Dollar wants to boop him in. They win the trade. It looks good. Marking the Tracer now. Trying to stop Kai 41 finding any crucial trades. And I think the damage has been done. They should be able to deal with this Tracer. A late kill surely onto Kai 41. But no, he just managed to get out actually, but the result of the fight's still the same. Sovereigns will keep the point moving. Ult-wise coming back, not all that much for either team. Dan is closest, but 30% of a cage can still take a hot second. So it might just be in neutral, and Skytor wants to try and take a bit of space here. We'll just clear Shax off point for now. Happy just to neutralize for progress. Celtas don't have much choice but to play it slow. They know Dan will be close to cage. A long way away from ult still here, so happy to play it slow. Sovereigns also don't want to overstep until they have an ult of their own. Waiting for Dan to get the cage. Dan's peeking below quite a lot. Zydra's getting quite close to this overclock too. Zydra's going to peek the high ground. Forces Fi to D-peek now. Disruptor shot comes through. Dan will threaten him, so Zydra will take a step back. Ult slowly here for everyone. It could end up into a big ult trade. Cage advantage still for Dan, though. Skytor quite far away. Celtas don't have to start the fight here, remember. They do have a substantial lead. Just vying for position. Kai 41 will be forced out. Doesn't have to recall, though. Zydra has rail. Forces Shax recall now. And Shax is a little bit committed. Kai 41 wants to push him. But Dan drops to help. Now the cage. Now the high noon. They're trying to trap him. And just going to get caught. Ajax is as well. No beat. Now the pulse bomb in the back. It's massive from Shax. But momentum swing. It's all Sovereign's way. Fi confirms the Ajax. And was in the open. He was in the cage. Sovereigns find the crucial timing. Unbelievably huge value in this ult trade here. And now Dollar even has this beat for this next fight. It's still a tough one to win against the cage, against the overclock. But if you can trade one ult for two ult here, you won't feel too bad about it. Sovereign's playing it slow again. We see a flank from Fi. Doesn't find anything though. Now the overclock comes in, and Sovereign's just keen to de-peek this. They want to run away, but Zydra will keep swinging. Pressure onto him. Have to be careful here. The B comes back out. They have cage if they overextend here. Oh, and Zydra's not going to get out. The cage is a miss from Skytor. The ult economy in shambles now from Celtas. They don't find any of these. They can just push on their next time in. Here comes Dan. Skytor desperate for a trade. Anything will do, but he gets nothing. Sovereigns will take the lead and then some. A trade onto Shax is better than nothing. But Shax will be back quickly. Now the high noon for Sovereigns, the next ult available. They can just use this to force the payload that bit further. Suddenly, the lead's evaporated. The time's evaporated for Celtas. They are now the ones on the back foot as Kai 41 makes his way over to Genji. They'll regroup. They'll try and push for high ground. Fi has that high noon. Remember, there's the swing, but Skytor jumps out. Goes for the cancel. Skytor sees his opportunity, but he's solo. Suzu is good. Shax in the back, though, has gotten the pick. Shax is pulling them apart. Now he turns his attention to Skytor. The Kitsune Rush is used. They maybe didn't need it in the end, but they'll still win the fight. They'll get more meters at least. They'll get Podonova and Sovereigns. Ramping up the pressure. 104 meters and counting. Ult advantage coming back for Celtas. They're going to have both support ults. An opportunity to win this fight. But they're so far behind now. Yeah, Shax is even just going to take the payload as far as he can. Concede it at that corner. Just want to force Celtas to use ults on their side of the maps now, Sovereigns. Happy to take slow fights. Happy to force them to trade. They force Dan back. They force for recall. Now the Kitsune Rush to keep going. They can pile onto Dan. No ults coming back. And they'll just take a fight loss in exchange for a Kitsune Rush here, Sovereigns. 2 minutes left on the clock. Running out of time. Now they have already got cap.
Hey there. Good to see you.
here, Celtas, so they can catch up on this lead pretty quickly, but they really need to win this next big ult fight. Dan's going to have Cage. Both teams will have Beat as well. Both teams will have Cage. Kai 41 and Zydra close to their DPS ults. Could be the swing factor if they can get him here. Considering coming top here, actually, Sovereigns. Shax is stalling the payload, but he's so split, actually. Kai 41's going to dash on him. Now the push comes out top. Overclock back. Beat in response. Cage from Skytor. Later Beat now from Andres. They pile on top. They'll focus down fire with the overclock. They take the trade. Dan didn't use Cage, though. I think it was tactical. Shax looked for the trade, but doesn't get it. I think it was tactical not to use Cage. They want to set up this clear win condition for final fight. They know they get another one. But now they have Kitsune Rush. And they have Cage. Should be enough to shut down Kai 41's blade. How do Celtas play this? They need to try and bait one out if they can, but time is limited. A tricky fight. They need to find a way to get blade value, but the Cage can just shut it down. There's the Cage. It's trapped them all. There's nowhere to go. They're going to blade. They're going to try and win it. Kitsune Rush over top. Kai's trying to chop through everything. With the Kitsune Rush for Cage. The combo's too powerful. Sovereign set it up beautifully. They weren't just thinking about the next fight. They were thinking 2 or 3 fights ahead. They set themselves up a clear win condition. They win that fight. They shut down the blade. It's not quite over yet, though, because the payload's moving closer and there's enough time for Celtas to get a touch. And Celtas have Kitsune Rush advantage. Vi has High Noon, which can make that Kitsune Rush difficult. But we see him coming out top now. Podanova doesn't quite have it yet. Has to be careful. Suzu used already. High Noon will be used in response. Has to de-peek. They'll be okay. Kitsune Rush now available. They'll meet on payload. Now they go. Can they just walk back? Zydra will be pocketed through all of this. Needs more and more help here. Skytor goes down. All the pocket was on Zydra. Now the pulse bomb is good again from Shax. Podanova gets one trade, but they need so much more. The Beat as well. Can they find the kills, though? Can they find the kills? No! Stomp down. Zydra nearly has overclock, but it's the Beat from Dollar to seal it. And Sovereign's not going down without a fight. They were 2 maps down. They were 70 meters down. But they recover all of it. They recover all of it. And that wasn't a simple comeback. That wasn't just one fight, one big clutch or anything like that. And that was a series of good macro victories of Amalgamira. Here's that double kill Pulse Bomb. The Cage on top. Pulse Bomb just there. The Suzu forced out. Nowhere to go. An easy highlight clip for Shax in the end. And the good news for Sovereigns is that like I was saying, not just a big clutch, not just one fight, not a bit of a miracle. They won consistent fights through the macro. And that gives them hope for these next maps. Remember, we're going to go into Flashpoint next, which presumably will be another Amalgamira. And suddenly that gap we saw on Nepal, where Celtas seem to be just way ahead in terms of the macro and the neutrals, doesn't seem to exist anymore, does it? If anything, it seems to be leaning the other way. A very well-managed situation by Sovereigns at the end there in terms of the ult economy. Effectively trading up into a clear win condition. Very well played. And now we're waiting for the next map. New Junk City is the one. You have to expect it'll be more of a Amalgamira. And especially for Celtas, some of those fights, especially some of those earlier fights, maybe around the 7 or so minute mark, I think are going to feel very bad because they're just sort of random picks and I get away from them and all of this. We've really failed, I think, to see Celtas outplay any of the complicated or the bigger ult situations where they've been at disadvantage. And Sovereigns were able to exploit that, setting up that nice finish on Esperanza. So New Junk City now. No surprise that we get no changes across the board. And the pressure on for Celtas. Sometimes the closer you get to victory, the harder it comes to claim it. The lights get brighter the closer you are to the end. And we'll move on to New Junk City. Again, still match point. It shouldn't be forgotten. Celtas are on the verge still. On the verge of top 8. They just need one more. We'll see how their confidence is in the Malga Mirror. We'll see what they choose to play as well, obviously. I think one thing that is nice for both of these teams is because both their flex DPS players prefer Tracer so much, they both seem quite happy just to lean into it, right? Both seem quite happy just to play it. And it doesn't matter if one maybe feels a little bit less optimal in the mirror than some of the counterparts available, like a Genji or a Venture or whatever. If it's just a handshake Tracer match, I think Kai41 is happy. And I think Shax is happy. This time Kai41 will be called PB Lover. Okay. Looks very much like we're getting that Malga Mirror. Genji's the initial choice. Fi on Venture though. This is for Falcons' version of the comp. The one that did so well for Falcons at the Dallas Major. As much as Falcons lost that Major, it did really feel like they were winning the Malga part of that matchup with Crazy Raccoon. So we'll see if it goes the same here. Zydra will be on the cast, so expect Zydra to have a real hard time. A slightly higher tempo expected. And more pressure. There's the burrow in from Fi. Drill dash to get close. Pressure onto Zydra. He keeps stepping back. Magnetic Grenade catches Fi. Suzu blocks all of that damage. Dan is in deep, but he's lost so much health. Now Zydra can push back. Zydra avoids the dive initially, and they are okay. Fi's looking for more trade. Skytor's had to push back. Shax chases it up. The player number is equalized, but the next cardiac over timing will be massive for Skytor. Drops it on point now. Should be able to focus down kills in theory. There goes Shax. Importantly, they deny the flip as well, and Celtas will be off to a winning start. Beat a lot closer for Ange too. Look at that. Kitsune Rush is about equal. I wonder if Celtas will be aware of this beat timing and what they'll choose to do with it. Ange has it already. Still 25% from Dollar. Might just take the big ult trade on point. Might be reasonable. Burrow in again. You can see him backpedaling. Dealing away. Suzu is good. Looking for the boop. Now they're going to beat back in. Dollar does not have it yet. Remember, pressure onto Dan. Dollar desperate to get it. Still a few percent away. Kitsune rushes there, but Fire's already fallen. Ange trying to regroup with his team. Skytor is down. The stomp is massive from Dan, actually. Now Dollar has the beat. Now they're pushing back. And Shax is looking to cut through the remaining players. The faster beat doesn't work out in the end. Both support ults are traded from both teams. But Shax with the blade to finish. A quicker blade as well. Now Cage and Tectonic Shock available for Sovereigns. A very powerful combo. A great combo for shutting down Cage Blade, honestly. If you just take the Cage trade and then start dropping that Tectonic Shock, no way for the Genji really to avoid it. Coming through the inside here initially. Skytor doesn't quite have that Cage yet, remember, so they might have to take this fight quite slow. Shax above. Low will be forced to deflect. Now the Tectonic Shock, and it's just going to be a disengage here. They should all get out. Fi really keen to chase, but he can't find anything with it. Too early, ultimately, from Fi. An easy disengage, and now Cage Mirror, but blade advantage for Kazakh Kai. They can just take the trade here. They need to try and outplay it. They're going to play aggressive. Fi's gone in deep. We'll deal with the drill dash. Now the Cage comes in. Chance to drop the blade. Suzu has been used. Just cutting through them all. And even had the quicker beat. And it will just be chopping them up. Get themselves over to point to make sure they don't C9. They did lose Skytor, so Dan will get to keep his life. And we'll go into one more fight. And it is both support ults coming back for Sovereigns. Kitsune Rush and nearly a high noon on the side of Celtas. Can't really take the direct fight here. The support ult combo is too strong. And Shax nearly has it. Drill dash comes in. They all take a back step. Dan following up with a charge. Catches Zydra solo. Suzu's not there. They drop both support ults. Podanova did respond, but it's not enough. Dollar makes sure his team get the touch, and now they can turn their attention to Skytor. Just play front to back Overwatch. Shoot the tank. File get the clean up. Get himself up to another Tectonic Shock. And Sovereigns win a close fought first point. DPS ults now available. A chance to convert, really. If I'm Sovereigns, I'm really considering only using one of these if I can. Last Tectonic Shock was too early from Fi, but they can get themselves onto point early. If I'm Celtas, I maybe just want to walk up, try and take a step back, disengage one of these ults like they did in the previous fight against this very same tectonic shock. Drill dash onto Kai 41, forces him back. Fi happy to mark Niz's side. The Genji is behind. Gonna go take that jewel. Now the tectonic shock, have a choke, drill dash into the backline, pressure onto it, forces for Suzu. Can keep peeking him here. Lots of damage, gets it and gets into the ground. Now we'll steal the Mega as well. Fi can keep going, no problem from Fi. The team will come to push up with him as well. Now we'll deal with the Mauga. Drill dash into a clobber. And a good tectonic shock, one fight. And they hold the point. Cage, Blade, Kitsune, all available for Sovereigns in this next fight too. Another very winnable fight. Could be a big ult trade, could be a cage trade. Anja's beat might be the difference maker. But Kitsune Rush Blade is probably better than beat Blade if we're being honest, so another difficult fight for Celtas. Shax's Blade should be the difference maker with the help of that Kitsune Rush. Happy to take the trade when it comes up. Celtas nearly at their own Kitsune Rush. Need to be careful. Dan's looking for that cage. We'll just cage Skytor. Is he going to cage back? No. They take the tactical loss. They'll have to concede the point for it as well. They were maybe even hoping for a little bit more, but they choose not to take the ult trade. They don't think they can win it. And they're going to opt to go 2 rounds down in this. So now, well, Sovereigns have to reverse sweep the series. Celtas have to reverse sweep Flashpoint. We'll be moving over to point E, the big wide open one. All 5 ults available from Celtas. It should be enough. It should be enough. Could still be a big ult trade. Dan without cage. That's the big difference maker here. No cage on the side of Sovereigns. So they need to try and avoid the cage as best they can. Kitsune Rush just starts it, and Celtas will just take the disengage. Now the Kitsune Rush comes back. Skytor has the cage if he thinks they're close enough. Holding onto it for now, though. They just want to fight. Kitsune Rush. Now the Blade comes in. Cage onto it. Beat over the top. Later beat from Dollar, but it won't be enough. Now Kai 41 exploiting the Cage Blade. They can't deal with him. They'll win the big ult trade. And they did save Overclock for it. 4 ults versus 4 ults. Celtas out on top. Fi still darting and dashing around. And it will be Overclock as the only ult in this next fight. Zydra with this clear advantage. Celtas in a very good position to win this point, but they have to win 3 in a row. And that can be very tricky with how the ult economy goes back and forth. All eyes on Zydra for this next one. Needs to be careful not to go too early, but they're kind of committed here. Shax will dash in, deflects the disruptor shot, actually. Dan's still pushing, but loads of damage from Zydra. Can they force that kill? Surely Dan will go down. No! They actually kill Anj. The Overclock finds nothing. It could be a disaster. Kai trades Dollar, gets the Mega, actually. Kills Fi as well. The DPS from Celtas are doing it. They win their duels. They hold on to this point the entire time. Surely now Nismalga will die. Surely now. Suzu one more time. Dan actually kills one. Zydra takes care of Buddy. He's so low, he's burning. Pocket just in time. Dan wants to force the kill. But Malga finally falls, and Celtas will claim the fight win. They'll claim the point.
Hey. Hello.
What a clutch there. It should have been cleaner. It was just a clear Overclock advantage fight. They made a bit of a mess of it, but Zydra redeems himself. Now over to the next point. Cage Kitsune Rush available here for Sovereigns. Nothing quite yet for Celtas. They want to try and catch him with the open. Buddy is low. Has to Suzu. Skytor so keen for that kill. They kill Buddy. They catch him on the rotation. Fi's in the back looking for a trade. He gets Anj. He's doing so much damage to the backline here. Fi and Dollar have taken down the backline. Is it enough though? They're trying to find the cleanup. Fi is low on point. Shax is still there. On the Farah trades 1 for 1. Who's left alive? It's just Skytor. A classic 9-man death. 9 deaths in a single fight. But 9-man trade. Skytor, the last man standing, will help them get the flip. But Dan wants to contest early. Might only be a few percent Celtas get here. Now the Kitsune Rush, they want to contest. Skytor doesn't touch in time, though. A mistake from Celtas, and now the cage over the top. Skytor needs help. Kai has the barrage, but they don't need it. The later cage back. Shax trades for one. He's now on the back line. Shax wants to clutch. He thinks he can. He's in. He's on top. No shutdown by the overclock. Zydra good for it again. And the Celtas DPS, when their team need it the most, they are stepping up. Back-to-back massive fights for Zydra. The C9 cost them. If it wasn't for the C9, they'd be in a great spot, really. But they're still in a good spot. They have beat. They have the barrage. Dollar has the beat only. Fine now making his way over onto the cast to try and shut down the Pharah. They'll be coming from this right-hand side. Kai lurking on the low ground here. Looking for that barrage timing. Dollar has beat, remember, but can be scary to get off. They're going to play through point first. So they're looking onto the high ground here. Wants to catch the backline. Looking for 5. Suzu is good. The beat is just in time. Kai 41 goes down. The beat is no good. The beat from Ange, did it go through? I didn't see. And they're just going to get rolled back on this point. And it will be a clean sweep. Ready for the barrage. Kai 41 forced it so deep. Doesn't go off. Potentially a fatal mistake. They only need to win one fight to retake here, Celtas, and they nearly have that Kitsune rush, but Buddy's not far behind, and they have to try and factor in this Phi High Noon as well. Shax has made his way onto Tracer, Kai 41 onto the Genji, so shifting the matchup again. You can see Shax already lining up to play in this flank quite heavily, trying to pull resources away from Skytor. They poke Shax out though, force him back to regen his health. Slow and steady. They want to go aggressive, looking for the cancel, but the Suzu's good. So much damage onto Skytor, but the Kitsune rush to keep going now. Buddy just has his back. Now the later Kitsune rush, Celtas have to run, but Zydra's found the kill onto Dollar. They have to go to point. The pulse bomb trade is good from Shax. Malga advantage comes through. Dan over top, doesn't quite have cage yet, but he still has the cardiac overdrive all over Zydra. Suzu as well. Now he's got the cage. Dan wants to finish it. Dan wants to send it to a map 5. The beat is there from Ange, but it's only a 3-man beat. It's enough to trade Dan. They're still in the cage. They've got the touch. They might be winning it yet, Celtas. Celtas are not done. Ange dies on point. Potter Nova has to get the touch. Kai coming from up top. It's all on Kai. Buddy is low, but he's in a 1v3. He's down to half HP. And Sovereigns. One more touch from Skytor. Kai 41 coming back in, desperate for a pocket. But Bakiri's so low. Can he get the trade? No. Dollar's there with the PLB over the top. Ange gets one more touch, but it's surely futile. All of Sovereigns are back now, and Sovereigns will take us to map 5. You just can't separate these teams. You just can't separate them. We played a 15-game round robin. You couldn't separate them. They couldn't get separated by the head-to-head tiebreaker. They couldn't be separated by map differential. They can't be separated by 4 maps. It's going to take one more map. And that map will be Route 66. All on this. All on this. What will they play? Historically, Route 66 is a dive map. We've seen that be the go-to a lot of the time. But recently, especially in North America, when we've seen a bit more Route 66 played in these map threes, it's actually been Amalgam Mirror in lots of these situations. Now, Nepal was a very one-sided Amalgam Mirror in the favour of Celtas. But in his last 2 maps, the Esperance and the Flashpoint, both have lent the way of Sovereigns. Do they choose a different matchup here, Celtas? Do they go back to the dive? Decision time, crunch time. It's fair to say the momentum in the series is all with Sovereigns. Sovereigns on the verge of reverse sweeping themselves. Not themselves, of reverse sweep, or reverse sweeping themselves into the top 8. Remember, top 8 is on the line. The winner qualifies. The loser is out of the FACEIT League. And also, out of a chance to qualify for the Esports World Cup. With so many spots at the Esports World Cup available for EMEA. 5 spots 5 out of these 8 teams from EMEA will go to the Esports World Cup. All you need is one upset. One upset to be one of these 6th, 7th, 8th teams and get to the Esports World Cup. That's all you need. But you have to get to that top 8 first to have that chance. And we're going to go to Route 66 to decide it. It all comes down to this. Kai 41 this time will be called Omnicabot. 15 seconds and then we'll get to see what comps we're working with. So many choices, so many decisions to be made. The Malga Mirror, it's leaning away. It's leaning away. The momentum is gone for Celtas. Do they still believe in it? Will they go for it or will they swap dive? All comes down to this. Immediate lock of Malga, Genji, Sojin. I won't be surprised if we see Sovereigns just mirror this one, especially once they get confirmation. And it will all come down to a Malga Mirror for the top 8 spot.
Good to see you.
We've seen so far a real struggle in these last 2 maps from Celtas. They need to recover it here. Kai 41 will be starting on Genji at least initially. Shax on Tracer for now. Fi will be going Sojin as well. It's a spawn hold from Celtas. Zyder and Ange on the high ground for rest, holding this train area. Shax sticking onto the Tracer. We'll duel it out for control of this flank on the left-hand side of our screen. Slow and steady. Happy just to play around Zydra's angle for now. Celtas don't need to force anything. It's going to be a full swing from Dan on this side. They just burst him through. The cast damage is too much. Fi made the swap. Raw damage much higher there for the cast. And they just catch Skytor napping. And a terrible start. They can't afford for anyone to get staggered here. But Podanova will get out. And a whole Fi again! Just when his team needs it the most, Fire's found the opening picks. Zydra gets caught napping and a disaster start for Celtas, forced all the way back. They'll still get one more fight. They're going to get 3 on the payload here, but it's been all Fire all the way. And as a result, pretty close in that high noon already. Podanova not a mile behind with his Kitsune Rush. And Kitsune Rush does normally beat high noon. But I don't think he'll get out of the start of this fight. They have to swing top. Magnetic Grenade early. Pressure onto Skytor. Dan has lost his HP trade. Actually has to drop to point so Skytor can follow it. Doesn't catch anything though. And they take a DP. Chance to go with high noon now from Fi. He's on the high ground. Getting pocketed through. Looking for it. Boop is good. Can't find anything. Pulse bomb on the front. Fi doesn't find anything with it. And now a chance to respond. But he wants to focus down Zydra. Zydra's going to try and slide out. Still on this high ground. Now Kai 41 comes to challenge him. He's forced back. They've lost Dan on point. Celtas with the earlier Kitsune Rush. It proves the difference maker. Fi had the picks, but Podanova had the ult. And Celtas, after a couple of disasters, actually get to stabilize. And now they can go back to holding forward. It's still only 1 fight away from capping first. But half the time gone now for Sovereigns. They do have support ult advantage coming back. But they do have to play through this Blade and through this Overclock. They're going to play through point initially here. Kitsune Rush on point. We'll just try and play this one slow. They don't want to have to beat back quickly. There's the beat back now. Trying to look for the Ajax. Dollar will get it off. Blade over the top. Still trying to cut through here. Deflect on the Magnetic Grenade is good, actually. So he turns his attention. Cage over the top from Dan, but they're already dead. They're still low, though. Fire walking forward. It's a 3v3 recall from Shax. He's behind. Fire swung so aggressively. It's made so much space for Shax. And this time it's the Sovereigns DPS who come out on top. Such a good move from Fi. It's always important in these clutch situations to make positive moves, play to win the fight, not to lose. And Fi makes such an aggressive swing. It just makes so much space, takes so much attention. He hits the shots too, that always helps. But Shax is able to get the cleanup. And after that, if they didn't win that fight, they would be in a real hole for the final fight on Thursday. So massive from Fi. Now they have high noon against this Skytor Cage. If they can keep Fi outside for Cage, they have a decent chance to win that fight because they can break for Cage. They're going to try and rotate through this other side. They want to flip the map. Shax is going to anchor point. They're coming through top, and Skytor's not there to match them, actually. Now they're swinging back. Celtas are just keeping the payload locked for now. Chance to swing with this high noon. And just going to try and get out. They're looking for the boot. Pressure onto him, but Celtas D-peak. But they're all a little bit split right now. They've got the cart, though, Sovereigns. They're just going to keep trying to C9. Remember, they still have that cage. There's the cage into the back. Dollar is caught. Fi trying to swing. They walk into the cage now. Still cage advantage, but they've got the health advantage now. Super low on Buddy. Traded by Kai41. Looking for more traits now onto Fi. Fi is so low, but Pulse Bomb is good. Shax, we talked about Tracer in these late dog fights, and Shax finds value again. The payload is still moving for Sovereigns, and Celtas have to reset. Forced all the way back now. Fi and Dollar still rolling out, so now Skytor is here. They'll have to reset a little bit, Sovereigns. 2 minutes left on the clock. Kitsune Rush, Beat, Blade, all available for Celtas. Only the support ults here, so the Blade is the real difference maker in theory. There's the Kitsune Rush trade. Still looking for that Beat over the top. They want to go inside. Dollar chooses not to use it. But I don't think they get another recontest. I don't know if they didn't have Suzu, so he didn't feel he could get it off. He felt the Genji was too close to him. But it's a huge cleanup for Kai41. And they managed to stabilize. We saw Sovereigns units towards the end of Esperanza set up clear win situations. Now they just have Beat versus Overclock. And they have Cage soon. So Cage, Beat versus just Overclock should be possible. Unless a pick like that happens. The perfect pick at the perfect time for Zydra. He had some big moments on New Junk City. It wasn't enough for Celtas. Is this one here enough for Celtas? They're still pushing forward. They want to go in. They want to force the fight. Shax is back now. Buddy's going to TP out. Zydra's going to slide to his team, but they've just killed Dan. They stagger him out more. And this ult advantage that Sovereigns were playing for. They might struggle to get to use it. The payload's now rolled back in considerable amount as well. All eyes on Zydra. Any pick is big. On the rotation would be good again. This time they're just playing around payload. They want to make Sovereigns walk for it. Make it last fight if they can. Playing the distance. Rhea will force for recall. Sovereigns seem unsure. They're going to try and play through point instead. Will be forced back. Sovereigns still deciding which way to come. If they want to come top, they're going to swing the corner, try and move it. There's the overclock. One onto Dollar. Dollar's awfully low. There's the cage. They lose Buddy. Beat over top as well. That should be the end of the value for Zydra. And there we go. Will get shut down. They convert the advantage. They're on the payload. No overtime spawns for Celtas here, so they've got the best chance possible. The best chance possible to touch, but it's hard. Pulse Bomb at the choke here. Forces the early Suzu. Kai41 gets the touch. 20 centimeters left. No one else can get it. They get it. C9. Behind noon helps force it. Hi. Welcome to third point. Welcome to third point, Sovereigns. Thank you, Thicca, for the 4 months. And thank you to Celtas and Sovereigns for what an incredible series. Sovereigns, they've reverse swept, or they're on the verge of reverse sweeping. They had to come back from 2 maps down. They did that. Now they find themselves on Route 66 third point. Only a minute left. Only a Kitsune Rush in hand. They don't really have the ults to win this fight. But this distance on Route 66 might just about be enough. They have time to disengage, or they have time to die quick. They don't have time for a slow fight, though. Celtas could choose to make this last fight. Now they come round cage over the top. Kitsune Rushes will be traded. They think they can win it. Blade over the top as well. They just want to die quickly now, Sovereigns. They get 3 of the big ults out. And now all of a sudden, Dan nearly has cage, but it's versus a Beat. It's not the easiest situation at all. Don't get it twisted. But it's way better than the previous one. And we actually see Zydra hiding. Wants to catch someone on the flank. Dink onto Shax. Doesn't catch it, though. Dan doesn't have cage yet. They have Beat advantage. 10 seconds left on the clock. Sovereigns want to go high ground. Want to buy time for Dan to get this cage. Maybe for Dollar to get Beat. Celtas want the fight to happen a little bit quicker than this, but I don't know if they realize it. I don't know if they realize it. They're swinging aggressively now. Skytor is low. Beat over top. They try and focus down on Dan. 98%, 99 on cage. The cage does not come through. This is Celta's moment. They can walk forward. They can stomp the back line. Kai41 will clean these ones up with the help of Skytor. And they can't touch the point. They didn't quite get in that cage timing. Well recognized by Celtas that their moment to go was then. They do, they go, it works. And 2 points. And just shy of 40 meters is the distance. It's not a completion. It's not much of a distance on third. But how many times have you seen a hold on Route 66 first point? How many times have you seen a hold on Route 66 second point? This is far from over for Sovereigns. It felt more even though. Felt more even in these ult trades.
Ready for battle.
It all comes down to this. So much of this round robin, there's been so many games. There's been limited pressure. Limited stakes. It feels like there's so many games ahead of you. So much chance for redemption. So much chance to recover a bad start or a bad week. But not anymore. It all comes down to this final attack. The pressure is as high as it could possibly be for Celtas right now. As high as it could possibly be for Sovereigns right now. Dan. Not meant to be playing today. Not expected to be in the roster. Having to come back in. And he's helped his team fight all the way back from the pits of a 2-round deficit.
3, 2, 1.
And now,
Incoming.
they have a defendable lead, and they are on Bat Brig Sigma. A change of composition. A final twist potentially in the tail for Sovereigns. Will it work out to be the right decision? Slow and steady, holding on the high ground. Not opting for the spawn hold, just opting for the good hold. Skytor has gone Winston. A completely different matchup now. They want to go dive versus this. Now the Bat Brig, pretty sturdy. The Sojourn hard to get on. But once you get any support ults, once you get beat, once you get Kitsune Rush, you can really overrun this Bat Brig. Just to dive onto the high ground for now. Will be forced back. Ange just a little bit in there. Suzy doesn't catch him, but they're just happy to move point for now. Celtas, but Ange gets caught. A pushback now. Another pick now. The backline has died. They have to run out. Skytor has to bubble himself out. But Fi can swing aggressively. He gets traded. Well, he doesn't get traded, but Shaxx gets traded. If Zydra can live, it's massive. Fi wants to push for this kill. Has Fi gone too far? He will get pocketed out. They did use Lamp for that as well. Now an opportunity. Trace not in the fight. Easier to stage for all of Celtas now. They force Dan back as well. They have to concede for space. Another dive now. TP in as well. They're all over Dan. Dan is awfully low. Matrix is back. They've lost for high ground. Skytor will stage aggressively. Ange nearly has beat. The window forces him to DP. Zydra tries to jump out, but right in front of the window. File getting that kill. Celtas, they nearly have the beat. Do they want to turn this or do they want to reset? Ange is going to try and run. They want to reset. They'll go pick up Zydra. Reliant on the ults here. Reliant on the ults. Gonna stage underneath again. Kai will get the touch. Rock misses from Dan. Still just holding on to his high ground. Recall has been forced. Is there a chance now to go with beat for Celtas? They have the Kitsune Rush too. They nearly have the DPS ults. No defensive ult just yet. Overclock will come through. It shuts down Kai41 straight away. Pulse Bomb. They Suzu out of it. But the damage might be done. Zydra will not be getting out of this one. And again, they're repelled. And the Bat Brig, it looks good so far. So important to win that fight because they didn't quite have rally. They didn't quite have flux, Sovereigns. But now they do. Next time the Primal comes in, the Kitsune Rush comes in, the beat comes in. Dan can flux defensively. Dollar can rally defensively. Their chances to live have skyrocketed now, Sovereigns. They're going to come coast, potentially. Skytor looking for an opportunity. Full rail for Fi. 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Celtas were so close, but they now feel so far. The dive in. Defensive flux. Kitsune Rush. They need the beat. Skytor will get it. He might need to Primal straight away. Bash. He can't get the Primal off. The bash from Dollar. The defensive lamp. Kai41 wants to finish it. The blade. Can he find the kill? He gets one. Is it enough? They're still pushing forward. Ange's doubling down. Podonova's doubling down. Zydra with 2. Now they've got the high ground. Dan and Fi will live. A recontest is possible. Skytor has the Primal. Buddy has the window. Dollar is back on Lucio. They want to go for one more fight. They want to hold it here. Sovereigns. They can taste for reverse sweep. Window onto the high ground. Here comes Skytor. We'll be able to keep him isolated. Lamp comes out. Buddy's taken for a ride. He's splitting him. He's isolating him. Podanova is killed on point. The primal is good. And Celtas are not out of it yet. 3 minutes on the clock. And Dan has gone Mauga. Does this force a swap from Skytor? He's in spawn. He's going Mauga. It started on Mauga. It will finish on Mauga. Tracer for both teams as well. No ults to speak of. Maybe bar Shax's pulse bomb. He's been pretty good with them so far. But it'll be slow and steady in this first fight. Keen to just keep a cart moving. Again, we see Sovereigns opting not to hold close, but just to hold for high ground, hold for good position. It got him a lot of time on first. And Fire's swinging, booped back for now. Skytor's been poked out. And Sovereigns managed to stabilize. No ult still for either team. Beats coming up. Kitsune Rush advantage for Podanova, importantly. So if they can take that double support ult trade, Celtas should have advantage. Fire's close now, overclock though. Much closer than Zydra. Fire's been good in this series so far, but only a body shot on Ange there as the rotation comes in. They want to stomp and chase. Dan's going to have to overrun out here. Does manage to get out. Kai41 blinks back. Shax wants to force for recall. They have forced for recall. Now the trade. Suzu on top of Dan. He's low. He's been forced off the high ground. They want to clear 5. Sydra's found the pick. The pulse bomb is good from Kai41. Dan is low because of it. They force it back. The foot is on the neck now, but Shax manages to trade one back. It's still 4v4. The beat comes out. Ange has beat. Kitsune Rush 2. They double support ult. They need kills now. They're desperate for kills, Celtas. Surely they can't all get out. Dan's going to run. The chase is on from Skytor. They want to keep going. Skytor's doubled down, but his team's not with him. Zydra's trying to force it. Skytor's gone too far. The rail is good from Zydra. He can regroup. It's not quite over yet. They can stay in this fight and keep forcing point. Miscommunication from Celtas at the worst possible time. Zydra does now have that overclock. Fire will be coming back on Venture. Both Maugas very close to cage. Zydra with an overclock. Kitsune Rush advantage for Buddy. Wants to make the Venture's life hard. Now just has this high ground. They want to force point. They want to cap it. Only 40 seconds left. Fire's going to dash underneath. Kitsune Rush comes through. Buddy has to Suzu early. Looking for anything, but he can't see anything. There's one. Now the swap again. They're trying to come behind. Skytor's giving him a flip though. Zydra is now all the way behind. And they're regrouping on point. Shax has pulse bomb. Nothing more though. Skytor nearly has cage, as does Dan. Oh, Fire makes a move on the high ground. Zydra wants to push him. They're overwhelming Fire. He's all alone. Sovereigns can't do anything to help him. Now they turn their attention back to point. They force him inside. Dan has to match it. Cages will be traded. Dan has lost his HP drain, but pulse bomb is Suzu though. Podanova still had it. Shax cannot clutch. And Celtas, we're going to third point. Remember, 40 meters, 85 centimeters. That's all it takes. 1.5 minutes, a couple of shots at it. It's not very far at all. Look how close victory is. That's all Celtas need. They only have a pulse bomb right now. They'll have a beat soon, but Dollar will have his beat first. So it'll be a beat trade. Maybe a big pulse bomb can find it. It is a flip, actually. They want to try and get 2 fights out of this, so they're going to go early. Trying to move the cart away if they can here, but Dan will keep that one locked down. Dollar has the beat if they get in trouble. Only 1 minute left. Dan will swing on point. Skytor's trying to push him out. Kai41 behind him. They force him back. Fire's going to burrow into the backline, try and take that attention. Turns his attention onto Ange. Skytor will be forced back. Kai41 is low behind. He will fall. 50 seconds, and now Sovereigns can really bleed out the time. Kitsune Rush advantage now, but Fire and Shax, they want to keep going. They want to force the fight. Ange has beat if they get in trouble. Nez for beat. Nez for Kitsune Rush. Beat back from Dollar, but Kitsune Rush advantage. They drop onto Dan. They force him back. Sovereigns are trying to disengage. They're trying to live. Buddy nearly has it. Dollar is low. Podanova's looking for it, but it's Ange who dies. Buddy's going to have the Kitsune Rush now. Fire's behind. Only 20 seconds left. Celtas desperate to regroup. They can get one more if they die quickly. A late trade onto Dan will be a massive help. The cart's close enough to spawn. They should be able to touch. Sovereigns realise they have to move backwards, but Buddy has his Kitsune Rush. It's nothing but an overclock. Nothing but an overclock. And where are Sovereigns going? They're just going to take the fight on corner. They're coming out. Here comes the slamming. There's the Kitsune rush over top. Dan's taking so much damage. Zydra's found one, actually. It's not quite over yet. Pulse bomb on the high ground from Shax is good. Zydra's got the angle behind everyone, but can he find the damage? Can he find the kills? Shax is going to shut him down. I think Shax has done enough. Now the tectonic shock over point. Sovereigns are going to do it. They're going to reverse sweep, but not even the cage can turn this one. Dan has it to match as well. One last touch from Kai 41, but Sovereigns, they've done it. They've reverse swept. They're going to the top 8. They get their shot at the Esports World Cup. Celtas, they were so close. But so far, 3 match points, none of them converted, and it's all about Sovereigns. What a performance from Fi. What a performance. What a performance. And congratulations to Sovereigns. What a scuffed situation they had to deal with. The roster issues, everything. But my God, do they do it. Dan comes in, the emergency sub. He makes it work. And we can take a look at the scoreboard now. 5 rounds, everything that happened and all of that, eh? Everything that happened. We go all the way back to Nepal. 0 deaths for Ange, 0 deaths for Portanova. If your backline doesn't die in a map, you probably got a good chance to win it. But what a long way away that feels now. As we got into round 2, this was the one, Celtas won this one, but this was a very close dive mirror. 15-2 for Ange, again, Portanova 9-3, low death backline. Especially in a dive mirror. A low death backline is normally the swing factor, right? The backline with less deaths is normally enough. And then we get round 3. The swing, the Esperanza, the comeback. They were 70 meters down, remember, as well. Sovereigns had to go the entire way. But they did it. They did it. 15-3 for Ange there. But Buddy, 12-3, lower deaths all of a sudden. 21 kills for Shax, 21-7. A bigger impact than his counterpart. And then, round 4, more Malgamira. All of a sudden, Portanova, Ange, 8 deaths each. They're getting to the backline. The trades are good. Again, 32-7 for Shax. 25-6 for Dollar. 29-6 for Dan as well. And then we get to round 5. This Route 66. It could have gone either way. Again, I look at it. 26-6. Tracers obviously always get good KDs. But Shax came up with so many crucial kills there. You see less deaths on the backline again of Celtas. But Sovereigns won the fights where it counted. And what a game. What a result. What an unbelievable series. Everything was against Sovereigns on paper. They had to change player last minute. They go a map down. They go another map down. They go 70 meters down. Everything against them. But the tougher it got, the better Sovereigns were. And then the Malgamira swings their way. And then the Bat Brig swap. Whenever you see a team do that in the final round of a best of 5 series, the final map, there's always an anxiety. What if it's the wrong choice? What if it's not the right call? But the Bat Brig did so much. It bought so much time for him. And then it sets him up nicely on that 3rd point. There were clutches back and forth. There were so many great moments, really. Great moments from Kai 41, Zydra with a few really nice clutches on New Junk City and Route, even though they never actually won those maps. Portanova and Ange, I mean, I don't really feel like anyone played particularly badly, honestly. Really don't feel like anyone had a particularly bad game. Player of the match, I don't know where to go. I feel like Fi made so many important picks. I think, like, you think of that Route 66 attack, Fi, that was all Fi, fundamental part of it. He got the important picks right at the start when his team needed it as well. I thought he was so, really, really impressive performance from Fi. Shax was consistent value throughout, right? Blaze looked good. Genji looked good. Tracer looked really good as always, right? Big pulse bombs, big cleanup. So good in these dogfights. The messier the game got, the more that empowers Tracer. And the more Shax seemed to do there. So I think player of the match. Player of the match, Shax. Am I happy with that? Am I happy with that? I think I am. Congratulations to Shax. Congratulations to Sovereigns. And of course, it's worth saying, we can refresh this now because this is updated. Sovereigns are in the playoffs. They are in the upper bracket final. They will face Space Station. So, you know, there's been easier starts to series than this. Of course, there's been easier starts to series. But what a great result for Sovereigns. Your heart has to go out. Your heart has to go out to Celtas. They've played so well. They've improved. They've improved over time. I think I see, obviously I'm a little bit behind with chat because of a delay, but yeah. Natsuki saying, so close to clutching man for match Zydra. Yeah, I think honestly if they'd won it probably would have been Zydra. I think, yeah, Fi and Shax got a bigger gap towards the end, I think. They stepped up, especially that Route 66, I think Fi did so much, as did Shax. But yeah, your heart has to go out for Celtas. They've improved over the course of the season. When we've watched them sort of at the midpoint towards the later point, they felt better. They struggled with the Mauga switch up initially, but again, they looked better at the Mauga than they did the first time we watched them against Quick Esports. They kept improving, but it wasn't enough ultimately. They'll get to come back again in Season 2 of the FACEIT League, in the Masters Division automatically. They'll get another shot. But, well, that's sad for Celtas. Shouldn't let that take away from Sovereigns. What a performance. What a comeback. This is what you want in tiebreakers. You want to play, you want the game, you want teams to earn their place in the top 8. And can anyone really deny Sovereigns earned their place today with that fight back? Earned their place with the way they stuck in there? Despite the unlikelihood, 2 maps down, 70 meters down, they come all the way back. You can't take anything away from Sovereigns. Maybe there's an interesting question for Sovereigns now, whether they return to what was their more established lineup towards the last part of FACEIT League with Melanin, or do they continue with Dan after this result? Things to be decided. But what a great series. What a treat we were in for. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. Thank you very much to, obviously, the teams and for FACEIT for putting this on, for FACEIT for using this as the tiebreaker system. Like, I think playing the matches in the tiebreaker, always what I'm up for. Because you get games like this, you get moments like this. So congratulations to Sovereigns. Commiserations to Celtas, of course. Big up to Shax for man of the match. What a comeback. What a game. What a series. Thank you very much.